We're live. Hello. Hey
Hello.
everybody. Um Tyler is still doing a happy dance. He's still maybe a little bit drunk from yesterday, but no, I'm kidding.
Very much so
Totally kidding.
hungover. Very much so hungover.
No, he's it was quite a day for you, man. So obviously the big news is the Super Bowl happened yesterday, and Tyler's Eagles are your Super Bowl champs. They get the win 40-22. Very decisive fashion. And it was only that was cosmetic at the end. They got 2 touchdowns at the end to kind of make it look pretty. You guys were up 40-6 when you finally let your foot off the gas with a few minutes left in the fourth quarter. So, with that said, I think Tyler, go ahead and do your thing, man. Go off.
I mean, I don't have a voice. It's there. I'm not going to yell. I yelled plenty last night. There was a lot of superlatives of cuss words being thrown around, of pure joy, excitement. I picked up anyone and everyone that I could. I put Sam on his tippy toes because I couldn't really pick him up, but I tried. Honestly, I couldn't ask for anything better. I won my fantasy football league this year, which felt great. I didn't win the Vinces, but that's okay. There's always next year. And then my team gets the win, a decisive win, and I could not be any more happier about the situation. And I'm be totally honest with you, man. I'm still taking it in. It's been a magical run, and I love every bit of it. And I'm ready to run it back, man. I'm excited. Let's do it again. 2025, 2026 season. Let's run it. Let's see if we can try and make this championship into a dynasty that we know that we could potentially have on our hands here. So, man, I can't say much more than just I'm excited to be an Eagles fan today. I'm glad I woke up and realized I'm a Super Bowl champ, just like they are. I did nothing to help out other than cheer on, but that's more than enough.
Right on. Yeah, and we all watched it at Sam's place actually. Sam, the house is still standing. We didn't burn it down or nothing, right?
No, your guys are all good. We got up early, cleaned everything. Well, we cleaned everything last night before we went to bed, and so yeah, everything's in order.
Right on, right on. And even Tim was there too. Tim's not going to be speaking, but he had fun. Him and his wife and son were there too. So it was fun to get Tim to hang out with us as well. Yeah, it was a bunch of people there, and we had a good time. And the game was pretty straightforward, right? There was nothing really special. Like it was locked up before we even had a chance to think about it. Really. I mean, we can talk about the Kendrick Super Bowl halftime show as well a little bit. That was really well done. I thought. I enjoyed the fake out. He made like he was about to start Not Like Us, and then they went and did something else, and then they circled back and did the whole thing. And man, the memes dragging Drake straight to hell after that. Top
To bring
tier.
both of his exes, though, not just SZA, but also bring out the best women's tennis player to ever live, Serena Williams, and have her crip walk.
You don't have to have the qualifier of women. I think she's just the best ever, period, at this point. I don't know who's going to take the title from her, but yeah, no, totally, man. Like, it was so cool to see that happen. Like we cut to her and I'm like, Serena! So cool. Yeah, just overall. And I actually read an article on The Athletic. This guy who used to be a touring musician, who's now a sports writer, he actually rated like the all the halftime show performances basically from the 90s when they started doing big time halftime shows. And he had the Kendrick. Where do you think he had the Kendrick one rated?
Nobody's beating Prince. I don't care who you are.
No, it's not. No, Prince is his number one.
I would say probably about number 2 on his list.
What about you, Sam?
Definitely, I'll say top 3, top 5, something like that.
Okay, he had it at 4. So
Okay.
his number 2 was a couple years ago. The Dr. Dre and others, Dr. Dre and Friends
I don't know if
show
I
a couple
liked
years
that one
ago.
that much. I mean, it was cool, but it wasn't like Rihanna being pregnant and being like 60 feet in the air was impressive.
Rihanna was like number 11 or something like that because I mean, because she was pregnant, she didn't do any like super crazy, like being up in the air is crazy enough, I guess. That was as far as they went, but like his number 3, and I know Sam, you're gonna hate it when I say this. He had the U2 show as number 3, and I was like, ugh.
No.
And then Kendrick, yeah. But then he had Kendrick number 4, and I would say Kendrick is probably, I mean, I have to sit on it a little bit, but for me, I think it was pretty close to a top 5 performance. I think halftime show, like I thought it was very, very good, and he even said, "Hey Drake," but skipped the one word that was gonna get him sued, I guess, or whatever. So he was very. Who'd have thought the Pulitzer Prize winning artist was smart about what to say, when to say it, right? God, he's so good. He's so good. It's not fair. Like, yeah. So I mean, prop bets had a lot of fun with that too, and like the Gatorade bath, Sam, you got that right. That was yellow. Was the official one. I got I got it right that the first commercial was gonna be none of the options, Tyler, you had out there. It ended up being like food or something, right? Yeah, I don't even remember, but everybody, it was over on the national anthem. So like, yeah, just like we had fun. Like there was no real down parts. We didn't have to do a costume change or we didn't have to change it up, change the luck up at all. Like it was just good luck, good going, good sailing the entire way. So, so with the win, Tyler officially locked in the W for our Super Bowl pick'em as well. And that's because he had the Eagles winning the Super Bowl from the preseason. So he ended up with 10 bonus points that way. So dubs for our boy. Yeah, that's I think that handles anything you guys else want to say about the Super Bowl?
Yeah. Kenny Pickens had a Super Bowl appearance before Dak Prescott.
Yeah. Kenny Pickett, baby. Oh boy.
To be a Cowboys fan.
I just love the the Chiefs getting punched in the face and
Oh, Mahomes
dethroned, if you
literally got
will.
punched in the face by Carter. Quite literally.
Yep. That was
that's like
that was our
like the image.
That's our cover image. Normally we have a couple of different images and then like something in the background. That's the one image we use for all 3 of them. For this one, we just I think it encapsulated the entire game pretty well. It was just from start to finish. It was an absolute dismantling. The Chiefs couldn't run the ball at all, and then when they couldn't run the ball, they were able to pin their your boys on the defensive line were able to pin their ears back and just fucking go. And I don't know, I lost track of how many times he got sacked. It 5, 6, 7, I don't know.
It's crazy. He got sacked 6 times,
right?
And Vic Fangio never called a
blitz.
What's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, he never called a blitz once.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean to basically drop back everybody into coverage and have your front 7 beat their offensive line one-on-one and put Patrick Mahomes under that much duress. That was definitely, the interceptions, the bad throws, getting after them. And, a couple years ago when the 49ers had a shot to beat the Chiefs, like that was the one thing they did well was get after the quarterback. I think that's kind of like the blueprint of beating the Chiefs is, you got to get after Mahomes. And as great as he is on the run, you still got to force him to make mistakes. And that the secondary, everything that the Eagles did defensively, they hit the nail on the head.
Yeah, I read another article where they talked about the key to defeating Patrick Mahomes actually is you make him hold the ball for like 3.3 seconds or longer. Because like he starts like when he starts escaping and doing stuff, that all happens pretty quickly actually. So when he's like getting rid of the ball in like 2.5 to 3 seconds, he's still really great. But when he's forced to hold on to it even longer because your coverage is great, that's when the line really falls apart. Just like and it was, yeah. I mean, dismantling is the great word for it, and he's that's how you beat him, right? Is you don't let him make the big plays happen, right? So and the Eagles did that perfectly with the Bulldogs defensive line. So,
It was fun. It was I thoroughly enjoyed my hate watch
oh
of
yeah,
the Chiefs. So it was very good.
right
Job
on.
well
Yeah,
done.
yeah. Worse things have happened. That's for sure. Yeah. As far as the Super Bowl goes, last call for anything, or we'll move on to the news and notes of the NFL at large. The Pro Football Hall of Fame class of 2025 was announced. We got Antonio Gates, tight end for the Chargers. Jared Allen was a defensive end for the Panthers, I think. The Vikings
and the Vikings.
Yeah, yeah. Sterling Sharp was a wide receiver for the Packers. He ended up retiring because of injury, but like he was on the Hall of Fame track, and he probably should have gotten a little bit sooner than he did. But here he is now. And Eric Allen gets in, cornerback, former Raider.
Former Raider, former Eagle. I think he goes in as an
Yeah,
Eagle.
yeah, yeah. He went
Yeah.
in as an Eagle.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, I mean, both of you
Yeah,
guys got represented there a
7 or
little
8
bit.
seasons with the Eagles, and 4 seasons with the Raiders. Yeah, no, hell of a player, definitely deserving of the Hall of Fame, and what a perfect weekend to unite a couple fan bases. Raider fans are happy. The Chiefs are got their jaw broken up a little bit, and the Eagles win, and we're sharing this Hall of Famer. So great,
Yeah,
great news.
totally. Um, Josh Allen won the MVP. I think it was down to between him and Lamar, really, was what we thought it would be. And it ended up being close. But Josh Allen ends up eking it out. Kevin O'Connell is your coach of the year. I mean, the Vikings had 14 wins, and they were supposed to be completely
with
dead
their
last.
with
Like,
their backup quarterback,
yeah, with
essentially.
their backup quarterback. Let's see. Sunday morning of Super Bowl Sunday morning, Deebo Samuel requested a trade, and the 49ers have granted him permission to seek one. I'm wearing my Deebo shirt right now because I don't know how much longer I'm going to be able to. So we'll see what the trade value is for Deebo in the coming weeks. I would imagine if they're able to get something done under the pressure of the draft, that would probably be the most beneficial for the Niners when other teams are like want to see something and they want to jump up to 11 and grab a player. That would be the time to strike for that. So I don't know that a trade is going to happen before then, before the draft. So we're going to be talking about this off and on for a couple of months, I suspect. Um, that being said, the dead cap hit, they restructured it so that way if he's traded before June 1st, it's actually like a $30 million hit this year. If they trade him after June 1st, then it's 10 million this year and 20 next year. So
Wow.
I mean, even then, even if they trade it before, like that's going to require much more capital than I think other teams are willing to give up for Deebo at this point, too. So like he's really like his contract makes it really tough to trade him, and I don't know that any team wants to take on that much money for a guy who woefully underperformed last year by any and all metrics, so
We talked about this a little bit yesterday, like
right.
on the open market. Last year it seemed like there was a opportunity to trade him. It
Mhm.
fell apart on draft day weekend or whatever, and that was coming off of a decent season. And now there's a disappointing season. Like the value for Debo Samuel couldn't be any worse. So
Yeah.
I don't know if there's really a trade market for
Mhm.
him to really find anyway, because if you're the 49ers and you're going to take all this dead cap money on your salary cap for the next 2 years, whether that's 10 million and 20 million, that 20 million, you're going to want something in return that's of value.
Mhm.
And you're going to mess up your salary cap. You want something back in return, and then the opposition ain't going to help you out. Oh, let me
Yeah.
give you a first or second round draft pick because you're going to be hurt on your salary cap.
Yeah.
Nah, not going
No.
to happen.
No.
So
You
he's
gotta.
either going to be a
I mean,
49er or straight up cut. Like
yes, yeah,
that's really the
and
only way I see it.
yeah. So he's gonna like as far as the dead cap goes, like that's gonna suck no matter what. But as far as the teams that you could fleece to get it done, Debo's not gonna want to go there. He's not gonna try to work out a trade with any of those teams. So
Right.
he's gonna want to try to go to a contender, right? And I don't see a contender, a legitimate contender, willing to make that kind of trade. Maybe you can catch the Chiefs napping, but they're not going to give up a first or a second for him. Like at best, you might be able to get a third, and they're desperate, I think, for wide receiver help.
Yeah, it's true.
Clearly. So I don't see it, man. Like
I mean, they don't even know if Rice is going to be on the team. He may be behind bars by the start of next season.
Yeah, that's a huge question mark that didn't get resolved during this season. So there's that. I mean, and he's the best receiver they have right now. D-Hop is washed. So yeah, it's just not a good look. They have to revamp that wide
And
receiver.
then if you are a team like the Chiefs, why would you trade a first or second round draft pick for Deebo Samuel?
Exactly.
Where you can just pick a wide receiver who's younger and cheaper, where you don't know if the Deebo Samuel you're trading for is the Deebo Samuel that's, one of the Yak brothers, is able to do all these incredible things, because last year he looked like he got hit with the kryptonite.
Yeah.
Didn't look like the same player. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I don't see a market for him. I think if I'm on his circle, his agent was probably going to say, you know what, you probably just need to stay a 49er and hopefully have a bounce back year. Otherwise, like, you're cut material.
Right.
If the 49ers really want to move on, they're just going to cut him. There's no market.
Yeah.
So
hey guys, I have to pick up my lovely wife. You guys have a wonderful show. Go Birds, and we'll pick this up next week. But have a hell of a show, guys, man. Have a good one. All right.
All right. Have a good one, Tyler. Congratulations, bud.
Later, dude.
Later, guys.
Later. All right. So,
all right,
Sam,
now that he's gone, let's really talk shit about.
We're gonna really talk all the shit now. No, no. So I guess that brings us to our next point. At this point, they've already released the way too early odds on next year's Super Bowl. Caesars Sportsbook. I actually screen capped all of these odds, and this is as of last night, 8:30 p.m. Pacific time. Sam. Who do you think the favorite is?
The Eagles.
That is correct at plus 650. Baltimore is plus 700. Buffalo 750. Kansas City 750. Detroit is 800. And then we have a bit of a tier jump. The Niners lead the next pack at plus 1400. And then you jump again to plus 1,800 for the Bengals, and then everybody else is 2,000 or more. Do you want to guess where your Raiders are sitting?
They're somewhere, I don't know, middle of the pack.
They're lower than that. There's only 3 teams they have at worse odds to win.
So like 1,400?
Plus 1,500. 15,000. Okay. 15,000. They actually have them at the same level as Carolina, Cleveland, New Orleans, and the Raiders are all at plus 15,000. Tennessee is plus 20,000, and the New York Giants are plus 30,000. So, yeah, yikes. Not looking. Vegas doesn't think too highly of your boys right now, so you got to really win the offseason to change that around.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know the statistics of a last to first Super Bowl winner. So, when's the last time a team, finished last in the division? They're the only team in the division that didn't make the playoffs. And then to turn around and be a winning team and then get to the Super Bowl and win, I don't know.
Yeah.
But um,
It's asking a lot.
as you guys know, I'm pretty fired up with the hire and the direction that they're going. I
Mhm.
think like next year, it's really just can you be competitive and can you sneak into the playoffs with whatever free agents and draft picks you get in here. But again, Pete Carroll signed a 3-year deal. This is not a build where he has 4, 5, 6 years. So it's time to compete right away. So I'm looking at like year 2, year 3 to actually be uh, a real contender. It's really that second or third year because you're going to need a
Right.
couple draft classes and things like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. It's just you got to get Pete guys.
Yeah,
So, my dad in the chat says Debo to Cleveland for Myles Garrett? Question mark. I don't think Cleveland makes that deal. Although Cleveland is really stupid, and that's a team that you could fleece and get it done. That being said, Debo's not going to be trying to work out a trade there. They told Debo to try to find a trade partner first off.
yeah,
So they're going to let him do the first round of trying to find it. That being said, yeah, I don't see Debo finding a team that's going to be contender that is going to give him what he wants or what the Niners will require, So
for sure.
we'll see. We'll see how this all plays out. We're going to have plenty of weeks to talk about this going forward. And I guess with that, with the odds, I'm just looking around. You got Washington, Green Bay are both at plus 2,000. So 20-1 odds basically is what it is. 20-1 for, I mean, for Washington looked really good. A team that was in the NFC title game at 20-1. The Bengals at 18-1 are kind of interesting too, just because they're the way they were playing, basically they started off ice cold and couldn't quite overcome the cold start. And it's funny, you got a team that was in fourth place at 14-1 with the Niners. So, I mean, of course the Niners are the Niners and they expect them to rebound. So it's interesting. Any teams that you're curious about where they fall? Seattle is 60-1, Arizona 66-1. Minnesota 35-1. Chargers are 25-1. God, Denver is 40-1. Miami is 40-1 as well. Chicago 40-1. Yeah, I don't know, man. Yeah. So
Long off season.
Yeah, long off season. Those odds will certainly change as it goes, and win totals are probably where I'm more interested, and those won't come out until we're already like preseason games starting, and that's August. So again, just a lot of talk to do between now and the start of next year. But the NFL is obviously king, and there will always be stuff to talk about. It is the 365 days a year league. So that being said, I think it's time we move on to basketball. Let's talk a little bit Warriors. We have the Warriors going 2-2 over the past week. They are currently playing. They just tipped off just under an hour ago as we started recording. They get the win versus Orlando at home on last Monday on the 3rd. They lose at Utah by 3 on Wednesday. Thursday, they lose at the Lakers by 8. They get the huge win. We'll talk about the trade that made it happen in a second. But 132-111 at Chicago. They started off cold in that one, but we had an old friend, Dubcon3, show up out of nowhere. And they closed the gap on that and just ended up blowing them out in the 4th. They're currently 26 wins, 26 losses, 11th in the West still. So I maybe cursed us a little bit by saying I don't mind so much if they're still in 11th, so long as they're at or above 500, right? And here they are at 500, still 11.
Well, they're playing
Upcoming
the Milwaukee
schedule.
Bucks right now.
Yeah, they're
39-44 Warriors.
Steph's at the line to shoot some free
Just hit it,
throws
so.
right now. So 45. And so they get 2 more games before the All-Star weekend. The All-Star weekend is happening in San Francisco at Chase Center. So that'll be fun to watch as well. But you have games Wednesday and Thursday at Dallas, at Houston, and then, like we said, All-Star weekend. So this past Thursday was the NBA trade deadline. Milwaukee sent Middleton and a rookie AJ Johnson and a pick swap to Washington Wizards for Kyle Kuzma, Patrick Baldwin Jr., and a second-round pick. Brandon Ingram is sent out of New Orleans to Toronto for Bruce Brown and Kelly Olynyk with a first-round pick and a second-round pick as well. And then the big one that really mattered to us is Jimmy Butler officially going to the Warriors in a multi-team trade. Andrew Wiggins, PJ Tucker, and a top 10 protected pick go to Miami. Lindy Waters and Josh Richardson to Detroit. Dennis Schroeder to Utah. And Kyle Anderson was originally going to Toronto, but something happened there. I think he ended up in Miami. Is that what happened there? Or I don't remember.
I thought it was Miami.
I think he ended up in Miami. So he might be a buyout candidate. We'll see what happens there. Jimmy Butler then signed a 2-year, $121 million extension after the trade was done. So it's not saving money by getting Jimmy. We're not saving money going forward in the next couple of years either. So again, another win now move. You hope that it works. Try to change it up. And I mean, they're up 9 on Milwaukee, who right now, I think before the trade deadline was, I think fair to say, a better team than the Warriors, and they're up right now. So that's nice. Even though they are playing without Giannis, that to be fair. Yeah. Anthony Davis went full Anthony Davis and injured his left adductor strain, and he's going to be out for several weeks after Dallas made the trade to get him in exchange for Luka to the Lakers. And I'd kind of like to know what our friend Daniel has to say about this trade now, especially with the injury. Oh man. God.
Yeah, how are you if you're a Laker fan?
Yeah.
How are you not stoked you got Luka then?
Mm-hmm.
And then Anthony Davis gets hurt in the debut.
Like the debut game for Dallas too. Just
right.
like I said, he went full Anthony Davis. That's
and then
the most
to top
Anthony
it off,
Davis
all the Dallas people, all the Dallas Mavericks people are saying, well, Luka didn't put the effort into conditioning and to keep the weight off, and he was always having these soft tissue injuries. And then you trade for a guy who is like Mr. Glass, like is a big man, but constantly is injured and injured by like non-contact things, people who are smaller than him. So like, as you said it, Vince, he would just went full AD.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll circle back to that in a few weeks, probably, I don't know, mid-March or so, he might be back. We'll see. They're not giving anything specific. Yeah. So that's a team that may start to free fall a little bit, like there's an opportunity for the Warriors to sneak in right there. I don't know where exactly they are in the standings. I'll have to look it up. But I mean, if you're looking at right now, the Warriors in 11th, right? You're trying to find a way to sneak into that top 10 at least, right? To get into the play-in tournament. Because once you're in, like that's, and whatever happens.
Absolutely.
So right now, the Mavericks are in 8th. Okay. They're only a game and a half up on the Warriors. So that's a team that you absolutely can catch. The Kings, the Suns, and the Warriors are all tied at 26 wins, 26 losses. So they're right there as well. The Kings traded. I mean, we talked about it last week. So I think the Kings became sellers as well, right? I mean, when you trade De'Aaron Fox, like to me, that's putting up the white flag. You're calling it. You think you're done. You think you're cooked, as far as I'm concerned. So I mean, there's 2 spots right there. The Suns weren't able to get KD trade. They wanted to get the Jimmy Butler thing done, but they couldn't get the KD of it to work as well, I guess. So, I mean, they're in a little bit of trouble too. The Clippers, until the Clippers actually like do something worth note, I'll continue to believe that they're fraudulent.
Yeah, I
Uh,
agree.
yeah. And those are your 7 through 11 really is Clippers in 7, Mavericks 8, Kings 9, Suns 10, Warriors 11. The Spurs are currently 3 games behind the Warriors, which means they're also 3 games behind the Suns and the Kings. So I think there's an opportunity here, though, because they made that De'Aaron Fox trade. That's obviously something they see an opportunity to turn the table a little bit and get into the playoffs, or at least in the play-in tournament. And I think the Warriors felt that too, and that's why they made the Jimmy Buckets trade, right? And so if you've got the Mavericks and the Kings falling out of it, Spurs and the Warriors could
Yeah,
feasibly get into it. So and anybody below the Spurs, I don't think is even worth talking about. Yeah. So I think there you go. Like I think that's the thing to look out for the last 30 games of the season. We're at 52 games played right now. There's 30-ish left for every team, give or take. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at right now going forward is the Kings and the Mavericks falling out of the playoff play-in tournament, and the Warriors and the Spurs taking advantage. The Spurs have a bit of a hike to go to get there. Like I said, they're 3 games back right now, and for they're 4.5 back of Dallas right now as it stands. So that's a little bit further to reach, but I think the Warriors have an opportunity to get up to the 8, and then that would have the Suns and then the Spurs, and maybe the Kings still hang in there anyway. But like this is the time is now. Like we said it before, it's win now mode. So
yeah,
it's time to start winning more than you lose, and winning in Milwaukee even without Giannis
with
there is
Giannis. Yep,
it's gonna help. So
absolutely.
yeah, there we go.
I like
That's yeah.
when I break down the Jimmy trade, I think like going in, I think all of us were all kind of like, I don't know if that really
It's it
puts
was a
you in
personality thing was what we were
right. Like,
worried about. Personality.
does it put you in a championship window again? And I think most of us would say like probably not, but can you be competitive? Um, when I look at the trade, yeah, you give up Wiggins and the first round draft pick, but if you're able to make the playoffs and then do anything in the playoffs, like if you're able to get out of the play-in tournament and hopefully get out of that first round of the playoffs, like who cares about that first round draft pick then? Like, can you just be sneaky good? Can you just see what happens and maybe the lottery goes your way? But also like even with Jimmy Butler signing the 2-year extension with what Wiggins had left on his new contract, like you're not saving any money, but you're trading 4 years with Wiggins and 2 years for Jimmy Butler. So you're kind of accelerating that, getting rid of that contract a little bit sooner. He is a little bit older player, but I think he fits your team better now. We talked about this yesterday when everybody was here. We talked about the impact that this can have on some of the younger players and specifically Jonathan Kuminga. I think this is, you know, if Jonathan Kuminga could develop into something anything close to what Jimmy Butler is a huge win for the Warriors. And when you get Jonathan Kuminga back for the, final leg of the season, that's like trading for someone and getting them back on your team. So it makes you deeper. It makes you a stronger team, especially, defensively and obviously Kuminga scoring, being able to get to the hoop. When's the last time the Warriors had somebody that can do what Jimmy Butler does? Get to the hoop, get fouls, get foul
Right.
calls, and drag certain team players over the finish line.
Mhm.
So, it's been all Steph for this era of the Warriors, obviously. It creates a lot of opportunity that, Jimmy Butler's a hell of a passer. And I think that's going to help some of the younger guys. I mean, just this game
Yeah.
alone, I've been seeing pods drain some threes, and
Mhm.
the young guys are stepping up, and I think that's the Jimmy Butler effect. Is it's bringing some of the younger guys up, and God only knows what practices are going to look like with him in there. So I think things are
Yeah.
leveling up a notch, and that
Mhm.
matters. How you practice matters. When it comes to game time, we hear about it all the time from championship level teams about how hard they practice, and how hard they train and go at it. And so I think it's all of the stuff that you can't put in a metric, the scores, the box scores. Those are the things that the Warriors traded for. And I mean, they got a big alpha dog in the locker room,
Mhm.
and I think
Literally,
that's something.
me
That's
me
something.
going me looking up at my TV right now, like Jimmy Buckets was literally like fighting over a ball and then dished it out to like Steph, who then swung it around to Pajinski. Um, he missed, but the fact to what you're talking about, just like somebody down in there willing to like uh, get get a little grimy, do the dirty stuff, somebody to help Draymond with that stuff too,
Absolutely.
uh, I think that's going to help the defense tremendously as well. It's going to be interesting to see where the defense ranks basically from here going forward. The
Absolutely.
last 30-ish games for every team I want to see, like obviously the first half of the year versus, even if we just take it to after the All-Star break happening this weekend, it'll be interesting to see from All-Star game through the end of the season where the Warriors rank defensively. And most of the time your NBA champion is a top 10 defense, right? And does this trade make the Warriors a top 10 defense? I'm not going to rule it out. I'm not going to say definitively yes, but I'm not going to rule it out. It's certainly, he's one of the best two-way players, and it was just a matter of the attitude. How is he going to like mesh with the locker room? And that's, I think, what we were concerned about. But, I mean, we're a handful of days in, obviously too soon to tell on that, but so far it's better than, it's been good so far. He chose number 10, and then he like posted pictures of all the number 10s, and a lot of them were like all-time great soccer players. But then he also had Tim Hardaway Jr. on that little montage too when he posted it. So he's, he has greatness on his mind, like Steph does, like Draymond does. So that kind of mentality, a true winner, and a guy like you said that can drag other players along with him, at least in the short term, I think it's going to help a lot.
Check this out, Vince. The Warriors points per game average
Mhm.
111.9.
Yeah,
Opponent point per average. So this is their defense 111.9.
yeah, that sounds like a
So
500 team to me.
or a 500 team. So we got to believe that the defense and the scoring is going to get better. So you got to think that at some point the offense is going to outpace the defense a little bit,
Yep.
especially if you start stacking some wins. If you can get on a roll here and stack some wins going into the All-Star break, you're going to see right now they're right at number 10 with points allowed. So they're at 10. So if you could
Okay.
get your defense into top 6, top 7, right?
Oh yeah.
That's a huge difference
Yeah.
on what
Yes.
you're doing.
And
And then
and
your offense,
suddenly we become a pain in the ass for any team we play in the playoffs too. Like
absolutely.
it's the story of that low seed that nobody wants to play. Um, Pain in the ass. And then we circle back to the old cliche, the playoff experience, right? The championship DNA that you love to talk about so much,
Favorite
but
saying.
favorite
Favorite saying
saying.
ever.
But the idea is there is experience there, at least, and Jimmy has his own experience, like single-handedly dragging the Heat to a couple different NBA finals. Ultimately not able to get that particular job done because he's one man, he can only do so much, but
Absolutely.
yeah, just overall, I think we're pretty excited for this trade to see how it shakes out, going for the rest of the season, and then 2 more years after that.
Yeah,
So
you got to think the honeymoon can last a little bit beyond the
yeah,
initial season. So maybe
e
into next
especially if
season.
this year goes off, well, like if this year goes well, he shows up next year, Maybe emo Jimmy is back and, having fun or whatever. Uh, yeah. So this is the opportunity, right, that we were looking for. The front office made the move. We said they needed to make a move of some kind. They made the move. Now we just see how it works out.
I'll close on
Just fall where
this.
they may.
I'll close on this with the Warriors. My thoughts is we when the trade happened, nobody was like, "Oh my god, we got Jimmy Butler." There wasn't like this overwhelming sense of excitement. I think it was like, "Wow, it's happening." Oh, like there's a little bit of like indifference, I'll say. And I made the comment a few years ago, 15, 20 years ago, we traded the Warriors traded for Larry Hughes and we were excited for
Mhm.
that,
Yep,
you
that's
know,
right.
and
Mhm.
all of these championships and all of this winning, and we're Warriors fans have become numb to the effect that, yeah, you got an older Jimmy Butler, but he is still a really good Jimmy Butler. And we're like, it doesn't move the needle. Like
Yeah.
that to me is like that to me, like the Warriors have been really good for a really long time, but I also remember the before Curry times. I
Mhm.
remember how bad this was. I remember like hoping we would get to 20 wins, Vince. Like
I
I
Yeah.
remember this.
Mhm.
A
I
majority of my
so
Warrior fan life was losing,
Yep.
um, letting people
Mhm.
know where
Same.
Golden
Yeah.
State was. They didn't know where it was. What city is that? What state is that in? They didn't know where it was. So I guess my overall thing is to really to acknowledge the ownership in the front office of the Golden State Warriors that even though it's not a trade that we all wanted, it's not of course we all wanted a shot at Luca if that door was open. Of course. But you know what? Thank you to Joe Lacob and the Golden State Warriors to keeping this team competitive, to going out and getting, yeah, aging superstar, but you went out and got a superstar. We have seen too many times the Oakland A's just not give a you know what about winning or signing players and just letting the product die on the vine.
Mhm.
So thank you, Golden State Warriors, Joe Lacob, the entire front office for
Mhm.
doing this trade. I don't know if it puts us over the top, but makes it a
We're
hell of a lot more entertaining to watch. So
we're
thank you
we're
so much.
be yeah, yeah, like we had complained in weeks past that it's
They
just
were
like
mid, they were boring.
it was a rough, like terrible 500 team to watch, So this is going to be fun, at least at the very least. They're a lot more watchable today than they were like 5 days ago. And I mean, I remember being in college, like I happened to be away at San Diego, down in college down there when, like right after the We Believe season. And my roommates, I had two Lakers fans and a Celtics fan, and those were the teams that met in the finals that year. So that was kind of, they're like, all right, go Lakers, go Warriors. And I'm just like, go Warriors. like, but now, it's like, go Warriors. Right. It's, I remember it too. And I am super appreciative. And I always say to remember where you came from. Right. And we
Absolutely.
came from the bottom. Now we're here.
Yeah.
As another Drake reference, right, for us. Okay, so now let's switch gears and now let's talk hockey. So the Sharks did not get a win this past week. Unfortunate. I was the closest to getting a game right. They lose against Montreal 4-3 on Tuesday. Sam and Tyler had that as the win of the week. I had the Thursday game against Vancouver. They end up losing 2-1 in overtime. And then they get the big L on Saturday against Dallas, 8-3. So they are currently dead last everywhere.
Well,
Let's see.
Montreal, they lost on this weird, like,
Mm-hmm.
penalty, and then they
Yeah.
scored and it was over, but it was like a weird.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I think
Um,
Celebrini actually committed the penalty too, so I know he came out and was, full accountability like
yeah.
the veteran
Like,
superstar
like,
that he already is.
yeah. At
He
18,
took
the guy who's going to be wearing a letter on his chest next year and possibly the C, if not next year, like in 3 years after that,
for sure.
Um, yeah. So yeah, I'm obviously we're excited for the future that Celebrini has, and even when he makes a mistake, when he takes ownership like that, you're like, this is what we want, this is what we need. Uh, I'm ready to go to war with this guy, and hopefully we have a couple other guys like that in the system as well. The Sharks do have the number one rated system right now too, and it's only going to get better with this season because right now the Blackhawks are 4 points clear
Yeah.
of the Sharks. So if the Sharks win 2 games, they tie the Blackhawks, assuming that they don't get a win in or an overtime loss on there. And as far as the Eastern Conference goes, Sabres are in dead last. They're at 49 points. The Sharks are 37, so we don't have to worry about any Eastern teams catching us. Right now, it's the Sharks, Blackhawks, Predators, and then you go to the East for the Sabres as far as like the race for the number one, for the highest percentage chance to get the number one overall seed. Um,
Yeah.
so if you get that again this year, like now the tank it's tank time, and I'm looking forward to going to at least one more game this year, and I'm not going to expect a win. I'm going to when I do go, I'll make it my win of the week, but I'm not going to expect it.
For sure.
But it's this is the we keep telling everybody if you're going to jump on the bandwagon, you jump on now, so that way you get to reap all the benefits of saying I was there when they were sucking, right? And then when they turn it around, because this thing is going to turn around, all the pieces are in place for it to happen, and now it's just kind of on the players. And the turnaround starts next year, I believe. This year it was about
And
bottoming
we
out,
we
right?
talked about
Last
it a little bit last week. They made the trade that sent Granlund to the Dallas Stars, and you get a first round draft pick back. So
Yeah.
you have 2 first round draft picks next year. You might have the number 1 draft pick overall, and then you might have like a back end first round draft pick, depending on where the Dallas Stars finish their season. And they're a good team. They might make a run. They might exit the playoffs early,
Yeah.
but you got a second draft first round draft pick. That's
Hmm. And
you're gonna
then
you're gonna be able to
yeah.
use that to
Mhm.
trade for a player if you really wanted to, or you know take the players and continue to build out the farm,
Absolutely.
the farm system. So I love where they're at from a structural organizational standpoint.
Yeah.
I think next year you'll start seeing some of these losses that are like we just mentioned, the ones that were like they lost on a penalty. I think you'll start seeing some stuff get cleaned up, experience, they'll get better. I think next year you'll see something that's closer to a 500 team. And
That's
then
exactly where I was gonna say. Yeah.
it's that next season where
Mhm.
all of these guys are kind of stepping into stardom all at once. And
Right.
Eklund is not getting the love that he deserves, but this year specifically, I feel like I've really seen that step up from Eklund.
Mhm.
Will Smith is still finding his way, but these guys are like they. I don't even think some of them could buy a beer. I think Eklund might be the veteran out of the young guys.
Yeah. Yeah. Um,
So they're still really young. They're still figuring out how to play with each other. But
mhm.
I think they're coming together, and you see some of the players that have been traded away and how highly they speak of the organization and the team and the culture that they're building. Not every player says that on any league when you leave a team that is in full rebuild mode. I mean, the Sharks tore this down to the foundation. Forget the
Yeah.
studs. They tore it to the foundation, and they're
Totally.
rebuilding this thing. And the players that got traded away from the Sharks this season, they have nothing but good things to say about San Jose and what they're trying to build here. That speaks volumes to me as I read this
Mhm.
stuff, because how many times you see players get traded, they're like, I'm a Dallas Star now. I don't want to talk
I'm
about,
gonna I'm gonna
whatever,
focus on yeah, they're very dismissive, or
Right.
whatever, because they don't wanna say anything
They don't
bad
want to
in
say
case they
nothing
have
bad.
to they don't wanna burn a bridge if they don't have
Right.
to. But they're not burning bridge right now. They're giving flowers on their way out the door.
Right.
So
And it's
that
so
that yeah, that
easy.
gives me confidence too.
It would be so easy to burn the bridge with a 15 win team. They got 37 points on the season. They're dead last. it would be so easy for any player to say, they don't know what they're doing, blah, blah, blah. But they've been very transparent with the players that they brought in. They've been very transparent with their rookies that are coming up. So I think as you said, this garden is going to blossom. Get on now,
That's right.
because it's happening. It's
Absolutely.
big news.
Yeah. I mean, and just one last point. On our, I'm looking at the standings right now. I see the Blues right now. At 56 games played, they're 25 wins, 26 losses, and then 5 overtime losses. I look at the Ducks, they're 24 wins, 24 losses, 6 overtime losses. They're like right there, 55, 54 points. Right around 500, basically. Just a hair under 500 or right around. I think that's kind of where I would expect the Sharks to be next year, is to finish somewhere around there, and they're sitting 11th and 12th in the
Yeah.
in the Western Conference, and I think the jump from 16 to 11 or 12, I think next year, I think that's a very reasonable expectation, especially if the players continue to develop like we've seen so far. Like if obviously there's going to be bumps in the road, especially adding in more rookies and more guys that are coming up. But these are all very talented youngsters. All these youths coming in.
Yeah,
I'm really
and
excited.
Celebrini deservedly gets all the attention, but I mean, we've talked about it a little bit before about what's going on with the Barracuda, but they're stacked, at the Barracuda level. We haven't talked about Quentin Musty, that he's making progress. I mean, they got guys at all levels right now that are pushing at one point or another, that could be pushing to be on the the NHL roster. So good things are happening. It's exciting. Yeah, they don't win a lot of games and there's a lot of frustrating losses, but you're going to see a lot of athleticism. You're seeing a lot of fun things happen on the ice. And even though it doesn't result in a lot of wins, it's still, you're seeing that foundation being laid, that, the future is bright.
Yeah. And just for reference right now, the Barracuda are they're a few games above 500 right now. They are uh they are 24 wins and 14 losses, and 2 overtime losses and 3 shootout losses.
They doing all
So
right.
so they're doing pretty good. There's a couple of teams just really like tearing it up as well, but like they're winning a lot of games down there. So if you're looking for cheap hockey and you want to see a winner, check out the AHL team. I mean, they play at they play at Sharks Ice, the practice facility in San Jose. So it's worth your money to take a look there as well. So just throwing that out there as a little tidbit for those of you watching at home. Yeah. That being said, so the Sharks upcoming this week, no games, and that is because we have the Four Nations face-off. And so what's happening here, Tim, if we're going go with the just the next image. All right. So they're gonna this will start in Montreal at the Bell Center. You're gonna have Canada versus Sweden playing on Wednesday. You have the United States playing Finland on Thursday. So then on Saturday, you're going to have all of these teams playing again. You're going to have Finland versus Sweden at 10 a.m. and then the US versus Canada at 5 p.m. And then from there, it's going to move to Boston for the final round, for the final part of the round robin and then the championship game. You're going to have Canada versus Finland on next Monday at 10 a.m. and Sweden versus United States at 5 p.m. So that game, that final game is going to be happening while we're recording next week. And then you're going to have your championship game 3 days later on Thursday at 5 p.m. And these are all Pacific Standard Time as well. So this is going to be kind of fun to see. I'm going to check it out, and all of these games, they're going to start at either like for the US games, at least they're all 5 p.m. starts. So they're playing for sure on Thursday, Saturday, and then Monday. So you have that to look forward to as well. And I think they're all like on a TNT, I think. So
Right on.
Yeah. With that, I believe that's all I got. Do you got anything, Sam, besides, of course, the obligatory fuck John Fisher? Uh, uh, there's something brewing that we'll talk about another time. We'll save it. It's a little teaser. But I got something.
I heard about it, and it's a good
I got some sticks in I got something in the fire. I'm working on something, and all I can say right now is I'm looking forward to the opportunity that I'm going to be doing. So with that being said, I guess thanks for listening, everybody. Thanks for watching on YouTube. Make sure to hit that bell for alerts when we go live next time. And if you don't have time to listen to the full hour, we're putting out segments, baby. So you can check those out as well throughout the week. That's SVT Sports Pod on Threads and Instagram as well. And just thanks for hanging out. And if you got anything for us you want us to talk about, send it our way as well. We love checking out new stuff as well. So with that being said, fuck John Fisher. Thanks for watching and have a great night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.